It's 2 a.m. You're curled up on the cold bathroom floor with tears in your eyes. In the next room, the person you love more than anything sleeps soundly after hurling words that cut you to the bone. Your heart is aching, your mind racing with confusion. How did we get here again? Just hours ago, they were apologizing, holding you like you mattered. Now you feel alone and shattered, yet you still don't leave. You could pack a bag, walk out the door, but something powerful pulls you back. Why do we stay in relationships that break us? Why hold on to love that hurts? Outsiders might label you as weak, foolish. If it's so awful, just leave, they say. But deep down, you're torn between the pain they cause and the warmth of the moments that keep you hoping. You replay the loving words, the apologies, the laughter after the storm. You remember the way they looked into your eyes and said, "I can't live without you." The bond feels unbreakable, even as it's slowly destroying you. It's a bewildering paradox. The person who is your torment is also your comfort. And the more it hurts, the more desperately you cling to the memory of when it felt like love. This is the silent heartache so many endure, the confusing, toxic love that we're unable to abandon. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on this very human tragedy. We'll dive into the hidden psychology that chains people to toxic relationships despite the pain. From the emotional roller coaster of manipulation to the deep attachment wounds that make leaving feel impossible, we will walk through the darkness and then guide you toward the light of breaking free. This journey will be raw and intimate. If you've ever felt trapped in a toxic love or wondered why someone else can't just leave, keep watching. Together, we'll unravel why we stay, and more importantly, how to reclaim ourselves when toxic love has taken hold. Wired to attach: the psychology of attachment and past wounds. Part of the answer lies deep in our psychology, in the way we learn to love as children, and the way our brains are wired for connection. As human beings, we are wired to attach for survival. From the moment we're born, we need others to nurture us, to validate us. That instinct doesn't disappear in adulthood. It's powerful and primal. When we fall in love, our brain releases a cocktail of feel-good chemicals, drawing us toward our partner. By the time the red flags start to show, it's often too late. We're already emotionally invested. In a toxic relationship, you know on some level that you're unsafe or mistreated, but that knowledge clashes with a deep, almost childlike fear of losing the connection. Your heart fights with your mind. Logic says, leave, but every fiber of your being screams, stay, you need them. It's possible, even common, to know someone is hurting you and still love them fiercely. In fact, research shows that victims of abuse experience multiple incidents on average before they finally leave for good. That's how strong the attachment can be. Love, even toxic love, doesn't die easily once it's cemented in your heart. Our earliest experiences shape what we accept as love. If you grew up in chaos or neglect, you may have unknowingly built an appetite for the familiar pain. We tend to seek out what we know. If affection in your childhood was inconsistent, warm one moment and cold the next, that inconsistency feels like home. Unresolved attachment wounds from the past set the stage for repetition. We gravitate toward partners who trigger the same feelings we had with an unavailable or hurtful parent. It's not because we want to suffer, it's because a part of us is trying to relive and fix the original wound. You might idealize a toxic partner early on, overlooking glaring red flags, because unconsciously you recognize something in them, something that mirrors a parent or a past hurt. This is the mind's bittersweet way of saying, maybe this time I can make them love me right. It's a trap laid by our own history. By the time the relationship turns abusive, love is already anchoring you in place. In the beginning, abusers are often Prince Charming. They're attentive, adoring, and make you feel seen like never before. All those sweet texts, the nights talking for hours, the way they said, "I've never met anyone like you," that wasn't a lie, it was a hook. Abusers are experts at seduction. They wait until they know you're hooked before showing their dark side. So when the insults, lies, or hits come, you're left reeling. Where did my perfect partner go? Was it my fault? You've seen their best side and you desperately want to believe that that is the real them, and the bad is just a terrible mistake. You tell yourself if you just love them harder, if you're patient, it'll go back to how it was. By then, your life may be entwined with theirs. Shared friends, finances, maybe children, making the thought of leaving even scarier. And there's something else at play, hidden beneath the surface. Shame. You might feel ashamed to admit to others, or to yourself, that the relationship is toxic. After all, you chose this person. You might think leaving means you failed, or that you're to blame for things falling apart. So you put on a smile in public, you post the happy couple photos, and you bear the pain in private. This denial isn't stupidity, it's a survival tactic. It's the mind's way of minimizing the crisis so you can cope. You convince yourself, it's not that bad, or I'm overreacting, because imagining life without them is just too devastating. In psychological terms, you deny to survive, twisting facts and feelings, even blaming yourself, in order to keep the hope of love alive. By appeasing your partner and focusing on the good moments, you momentarily stop hurting. Love is rekindled, and you feel safe again. This is how even a toxic love can feel irreplaceable. Your instincts tell you staying attached is the way to survive, so you hold on tighter. The manipulation maze, gaslighting, projection, and love bombing. Life inside a toxic relationship is often a maze of manipulation. It's confusing, disorienting, at times downright surreal. One moment you're soulmates, the next, you're enemies. Let's talk about some of the twisted tactics toxic partners use and how they mess with your mind. Gaslighting. This term has become well known for a reason. Gaslighting is when your partner distorts your reality to make you doubt yourself. It's psychological warfare, waged quietly over dinner tables and in heated text messages. Imagine you clearly remember them flirting with someone at a party or screaming at you during an argument. You bring it up, hurt, needing an apology, and they look at you almost bored and say, "What are you talking about? That never happened. You're imagining things." Or, "Wow, you're so sensitive. I was just joking." Suddenly the fault shifts. You're questioning your own memory, your own reactions. Maybe I am too sensitive? Did I make it a bigger deal than it was? Over time, these little doubts pile up into a fog that envelops you. You start to believe the lie that the problem isn't the abuse. It's you. You're crazy, jealous, paranoid, too emotional. Gaslighting erodes the compass in your mind that tells you what's real. You find yourself relying on your abuser's version of reality, as if they're the only mirror you trust. It's a terrifying feeling, like being lost in a funhouse where all the mirrors lie. Gaslighting is done to gain control, to make you dependent and obedient. If you can't trust your own judgment, you'll defer to theirs. And that's exactly what they want. To be the center of your universe, the one who defines truth. Projection and blame shifting. This is another mind-twisting trick. An abusive partner often projects their own flaws and misdeeds onto you. It's like they're holding up a mirror, but they point it at you instead of themselves. If they cheat, suddenly you're the one being accused of infidelity. If they're chronically irresponsible, they'll call you useless or lazy. They create a narrative where you're the villain and they're the victim. You find yourself constantly on the defensive, desperately trying to prove, "No, I'm not doing that, you are." It's a trap. While you're busy defending yourself against false accusations, they've successfully taken the spotlight off their own behavior. This tactic is so effective that you might even start to believe some of it. Maybe it is me. Maybe I am selfish. Maybe I did provoke them. Abusers can even twist the story so far that if you finally stand up for yourself, they claim you're abusing them. There's a term for this reversal, DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, where the abuser paints themselves as the wounded party. Suddenly you're apologizing to them when in fact they were the one who hurt you. It's a maddening loop of confusion and guilt. By making you feel like the bad guy, they escape accountability and maintain control. Love bombing and intermittent reinforcement. Not all toxic tactics feel bad at first. Some feel like pure magic. That's what makes them so insidious. Love bombing is when, especially in the beginning, or whenever they feel you pulling away, the toxic partner overwhelms you with affection, attention, and adoration. Think of a time early on when they said, "I feel like I've known you forever," or surprised you with over-the-top gestures, spontaneous weekend getaways, extravagant gifts, endless praise. You felt cherished, seen, almost like a deity on a pedestal. That wasn't an accident. It was intentional. They were getting you addicted to the high of their approval. And once you were hooked, they knew they could start pulling back because you'd do almost anything to get that rush of love again. This is where intermittent reinforcement comes into play. Psychologically, intermittent reinforcement means rewards are given inconsistently and unpredictably. And it turns out, that's the most addictive pattern of all. Picture a slot machine. Most pulls yield nothing, but every now and then, you hit a jackpot. That randomness keeps gamblers glued to the machine hoping. In a toxic relationship, love bombing is the jackpot, and the abuse, neglect, or coldness is the nothing. You never know when the next sweet, tender moment will come, but you're desperate for it. So you weather the storms, you endure the insults and silent treatments, believing if you just hold on, the loving person you adore will return. And sometimes, they do. After days of walking on eggshells, suddenly they're sorry or affectionate, and you feel that wave of relief and joy. It's euphoric, like a parched person finally drinking water. Your brain, quite literally, is getting drenched in dopamine during those good moments, and stress hormones like cortisol during the bad. This roller coaster of neurochemicals creates a powerful craving for the good times. Even when the bad far outweighs the good, you hang on, chasing those rare highs. In fact, those brief makeup kisses and tearful apologies feel so profoundly moving because you've been starved for kindness. A tiny crumb of affection in the middle of misery feels like a 5-course meal. You think, there's the person I love. There they are. If I just stick it out, we can always get back to this. And thus the cycle continues. This cycle of abuse followed by makeup bliss is often called a trauma bond, an emotional chain forged by alternating pain and kindness. It's the reason why leaving an abusive relationship can feel harder than quitting a drug. You're not weak for craving the highs. Your brain has been trained to seek them, to the point of addiction. Other manipulation tactics. Toxic partners have an arsenal of ways to keep you in check. They isolate you, subtly or overtly discouraging you from seeing friends and family, until your world shrinks and they are your only lifeline. Maybe they said, "Your friends don't really care about you like I do," or they sulked and gave you hell whenever you spent time away from them. So you began to cut off your support network, or they cut you off from it, leaving you dependent. They might control finances so you feel you can't survive on your own. They might monitor your communications or bombard you with jealousy, framing it as, "I just love you so much, I'm afraid of losing you." In truth, they're not protecting love. They're establishing ownership. Then there's intimidation and threats. "No one will ever love you like I do. If you leave, I'll hurt myself, or I'll hurt you, or I'll take the kids." These threats strike fear into your heart. You start to believe you're truly trapped, for your safety, for your children, or even for their well-being. And sometimes it's not even a physical threat that cages you, but an emotional one. The fear of abandonment. The thought of being alone can be terrifying, especially after you've been cut off from others. Your toxic partner has likely convinced you that you're nothing without them. You've heard it so often. No one else would put up with you. You're lucky I'm here. That it echoes in your mind. That fear can be paralyzing. You think if you leave, you'll be utterly alone, unlovable, adrift. The cruel irony is that you cling tighter to the very person causing your loneliness and pain. You hold on because the relationship has consumed your identity. You don't even remember who you are without it. You might even feel protective of your abuser, like you're the only one who understands them. This is sometimes called a trauma bond, or in extreme cases, Stockholm Syndrome, where hostages become loyal to their captors. In a twisted way, you feel loyal to the person who hurt you. You hide the abuse from others. You defend your partner's character because you still see the good in them, and you carry shame about the situation. You think, if I just love them enough, I can save them and save us. All these manipulations, gaslighting, blame shifting, love bombing, isolation, intimidation, form a web that's extremely hard to untangle from the inside. You're emotionally exhausted, your self-esteem is in tatters, and you're brainwashed to believe that leaving is impossible or that the abuse is somehow your fault. The toxic partner has become the center of your world, your source of pain, but also the only source of relief from that pain. It's a closed loop, a prison without visible bars. No wonder it feels so confusing to even imagine breaking free. But escape is possible. The same psychology that entrapped you can be used to empower you once you see it clearly. Breaking free, reclaiming yourself and rebuilding your identity. Acknowledging the reality of a toxic relationship is the first glimmer of light in a long, dark tunnel. If you're still watching and recognizing these patterns, you've already taken a huge step. You're no longer in total denial. Breaking free will likely be one of the hardest things you ever do. It can feel like tearing off a piece of your own heart. But on the other side is freedom, self-respect, and the chance to heal and find healthy love. Let's talk about a practical, empowering guide to help you climb out of the abyss and back into the light. Here are some steps and insights for reclaiming yourself from a toxic love. Break the silence. Reach out for support. Secrecy feeds toxic love. As long as you hide what's happening, the abuser's power stays unchallenged. So, reach out. It might be a trusted friend, a family member, a counselor, or a support group. You may fear judgment, and sadly, not everyone will understand. But there will be people who do. Contact a therapist or call a helpline if you're unsure where to turn. Speaking your truth out loud breaks the isolating spell of shame. You'll realize you're not as alone as you thought. Others have walked this path and survived. Let their strength bolster yours. You deserve a support system rallying around you. Lean on them. That's what they're there for. Name the abuse and challenge denial. For so long, you've been minimizing and rationalizing the behavior. It's time to call it what it is. Learn about the patterns of abuse. You're already doing that right now. Read articles, books, watch videos like this one about gaslighting, trauma bonds, narcissistic abuse, whatever resonates. As you educate yourself, those foggy doubts start clearing. You realize, it's not just me. This is a real phenomenon, and it's happening to me. Challenge the excuses you've been fed. Everyone fights like this. False. I make them angry. It's my fault. Hold those beliefs up to the light. You might even keep a journal. Write down incidents exactly as they happened, then reread it as if you're reading about a stranger. Would you tell that stranger what they're experiencing is okay? Probably not. Let the reality sink in. This is abuse, and you do not have to live like this. It's okay if a part of you still loves them. Your feelings are not your enemy. But you must understand that love in a healthy relationship does not look like this. Truth can be painful, but it will ultimately set you free from the mental chains. Create a safety plan, especially if physical abuse is present. If your relationship has any element of physical or severe emotional abuse, your safety is the top priority. This might mean secretly packing an emergency bag, saving money, or identifying a safe place to go. If you feel in danger, reach out to domestic violence organizations. They can help you strategize an exit without tipping off your abuser. This step is frightening because it makes everything feel real. But remember, many abusers escalate when they sense you slipping away. that charm can flip to rage. So, have a plan. Don't announce, "I'm leaving you," if you fear violence. Instead, quietly arrange your departure for a time they're not around, or have someone you trust with you. Protect your digital safety too. Clear your search history. Use a safe device if possible when seeking help, as some abusers track emails or messages. It might feel excessive, but it's not. You are not overreacting. Your life and well-being are worth taking every precaution. Set boundaries and prepare for withdrawal. Once you decide to leave or start enforcing boundaries, be prepared. The toxic partner will likely test you. They might love bomb you with promises. "I'll change, I'll go to therapy, I can't live without you." Or they might lash out, "How dare you do this to me?" You'll regret it. This is where you must stand firm. If you can, go no contact for a while. Block their number, unfollow them on social media, distance yourself entirely. Think of it like quitting a drug cold turkey. You need time away from the influence to break the addiction. If no contact isn't feasible, say you have kids together or other unavoidable ties, establish strict boundaries. Limit conversations to practical issues, meet in public or with a third person present, and emotionally detach as much as possible. Expect that you will miss them. You may even experience intense withdrawal symptoms, longing, sadness, sleepless nights, an ache that makes you want to run back. This is normal. It doesn't mean the relationship was healthy. It means you're human and you're breaking a very strong bond. When the urge to return hits, remember why you left. Reread that journal of incidents. Reach out to a friend who can remind you how far you've come. Every time you resist the pull, you reclaim a piece of your power. Rebuild your identity. Who are you without them? Toxic relationships have a way of consuming our identity. You might feel like a hollow shell or a distorted version of who you used to be. Now is the time to rediscover you. Think back. What did you enjoy before this relationship? What hobbies, passions, or dreams got pushed aside? Start small. Maybe you used to love painting or jogging in the morning or cooking or blasting music and singing along. Try doing those things again, just for you. It might feel strange at first, but keep at it. Reconnect with friends you lost touch with. The good ones will welcome you back with open arms, and if they don't, find new supportive friends. They're out there. Consider joining a support group or even an online community for survivors of abuse. There is power in shared stories. You'll see that others have rebuilt their lives and identities after even decades of abuse, and you can too. Little by little, as you engage in life outside the shadow of your toxic partner, you'll feel your sense of self returning. You'll realize, I am more than what happened to me. I am more than someone's partner. I am me. This process can be incredibly empowering. It's like meeting an old friend, yourself, whom you haven't seen in a while. Practice self-compassion and self-care. You've been through hell. Even after you leave, the wounds, seen and unseen, will take time to heal. There will be days you're angry, days you're depressed, days you're tempted to go back because at least the pain was familiar. Be gentle with yourself. Understand that healing is not linear. It's a messy emotional roller coaster, but one that does trend upward with time and effort. Do things that nurture you. Get rest, eat well. Trauma can wreak havoc on appetite and sleep, so be mindful of basic needs. Exercise if you can. It releases endorphins and can rebuild confidence. If you can access therapy, please do. A trauma-informed therapist or counselor can provide a safe space to process what happened and help you work through the PTSD-like symptoms many survivors experience. Journaling, meditation, art, any outlet that helps you express and soothe your emotions can be incredibly helpful. Importantly, stop blaming yourself. You may have a voice in your head saying, "How could I have been so stupid to stay?" Silence that voice with compassion. You stayed because you loved, because you are loyal and hopeful, because you were manipulated by someone you trusted. There is no shame in that. Remind yourself that surviving was your priority, and you did what you had to do in that situation. Now you're choosing to love yourself enough to step away. That is something to be proud of. Grieve and let go. This might sound odd, but even if the relationship was toxic, you might need to grieve it. You invested so much hope, time, and love. Mourning the loss is natural. Allow yourself to cry, to feel the hurt of the dream that died, the dream that this person would be the one to love you properly. It's okay to miss the good moments, to feel sad for the happy times that will never happen again. But remember, you are not grieving the loss of a healthy love. You are grieving an illusion and the idea of what you hoped it could be. When you're ready, try a ritual of letting go. Maybe write a letter to your ex that you don't send, pouring out everything, then rip it up or burn it safely, symbolically releasing those emotions. Some days, you'll feel like you've moved on, and others you'll feel the weight of heartbreak all over again. Take it day by day, even moment by moment. With each passing week of no contact, you'll likely notice the fog lifting. The longer you're out, the clearer you'll see the relationship for what it truly was. One day, you may wake up and realize you feel lighter, that the thought of them no longer stings the way it used to. That is the sunlight of freedom peeking through. Embrace a new future. You deserve healthy love. As you heal and rebuild, start envisioning what you want your life to look like beyond this chapter. This can be exciting and scary at the same time. Toxic love can make you forget that healthy love exists. But it does. There are relationships where there is respect, trust, and peace, where love doesn't feel like a battlefield. As you regain your sense of self, you'll also start to set new standards for what you will accept. Maybe one day you'll date again, maybe not. What matters now is that you know you are worthy of love that doesn't hurt. If and when you're ready to let someone into your heart again, you'll carry the lessons from this experience. You'll recognize red flags early, you'll enforce boundaries, and you'll never abandon yourself for someone else. In a strange way, surviving toxic love can give you a new clarity about what love truly is and isn't. It can lead you to the most important realization of all. The love you truly needed was always the love you give yourself. When you have your own self-love and self-respect, you'll never allow anyone to treat you like that again. You stayed because you were trying to survive, because your heart was doing what it thought it must to keep love alive. There's no shame in that. But now, you have the power of knowledge. You see the hidden psychology behind the toxic love that held you. Those chains can be broken. With support, truth, and self-compassion, you can step out of the confusing darkness and into a life where love means safety, respect, and joy, not pain. It's not easy to let go, but staying in a relationship that destroys you is far harder in the long run. Remember, you are not trapped anymore. You are free to choose yourself. The fact that you're still here, still open to love despite everything, is a testament to your strength. Use that strength now to walk away from anyone who treats you as less than you are. Heal those old wounds. Rewrite the story. In the end, toxic love is a lie. A trick of the mind and heart that makes you think you can't live without someone who hurts you. But you can. You did not come into this world to suffer at the hands of someone else's brokenness. You deserve a love that feels like a warm, steady light, not a wildfire that burns you over and over. So if you're in this situation, ask yourself one more question. Not why do I stay, but what would happen if I finally put myself first? Imagine that for a moment. Feel the weight lifting. You hold the pen to write the next chapter of your life. It might be a solo chapter for a while, a time of healing and rediscovery. That's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's beautiful, because it's where you become whole again. You have the courage to walk away. You have the power to break the cycle. The hidden psychology behind toxic love may have kept you chained, but now that you see it, those chains start to fall away. Step by step, day by day, you can reclaim your life. And one day I promise you'll look back on this and realize escaping that toxic love was the bravest, most loving thing you ever did. for yourself. You are worthy of real love, and it's waiting for you on the other side of this. Keep going. You're not alone, and you are stronger than you know. Remember, the pain of holding on is not your fate. You can choose the peace of letting go. Your heart, scarred but still beating, is ready to be free. The story isn't over. In fact, a new one is just beginning, and this time, you are the hero of it. Stay strong. If something in today's journey stirred your thoughts, your memories, or something hidden deep within, take a moment, breathe, reflect. Here at Neuromystique, we don't offer easy answers, only deeper questions and clearer awareness. Because true understanding doesn't begin with what we know, but with what we're finally ready to see. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe, to share, and to continue walking this path with us. There's more to explore, and sometimes the most mysterious journey is the one into ourselves.